The night the cell caught fire. February 23, 1992. General Penitentiary, Kingston. The corridor is thick with smoke. Prison officers shout for keys. Metal scrapes against metal. In cell 15, flames crawl up a mattress pressed against concrete walls that were never meant to burn. Inside, one of the most feared men in Jamaica lies trapped. Lester Lloyd Coke, known across West Kingston as Jim Brown. By morning, he is dead, hours before he was scheduled to be extradited to the United States to face federal drug and racketeering charges. The official cause, smoke inhalation. But the timing, the day of his son's funeral, the day after his final appeal was rejected, ignites a different kind of fire. Was it suicide? An escape attempt gone wrong? Or was a man who knew too much silenced before he could speak in a U.S. courtroom? Because Jim Brown wasn't just a gang leader, he was allegedly a political enforcer, an international trafficker, and the founder of one of the most violent Jamaican criminal organizations ever to operate on American soil. And the story of how he rose and how he burned begins not in prison, but in the streets of West Kingston. West Kingston, a political war zone. West Kingston in the 1970s was not simply a neighborhood, it was a battlefield. Communities like Tivoli Gardens and Denham Town were what Jamaicans call garrisons. Politically aligned strongholds where loyalty to one party could determine whether you ate, worked, or survived. The rivalry between the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party was not abstract. It was territorial, armed, personal. And young men were recruited not just into politics, but into enforcement. Lester Lloyd Coke, born in Denham Town in 1947, would become one of the most powerful enforcers the Jamaica Labour Party ever had in West Kingston. But that transformation was shaped by violence. In 1966, as political clashes intensified, Coke was shot multiple times during street conflict. He survived. Those close to him would later say that surviving that attack changed him, hardened him. And in the garrison system of Kingston, survival often meant choosing a side permanently. The rise of Jim Brown. By the late 1970s, Tivoli Gardens had become a fortified political community aligned with the Jamaica Labour Party under the leadership of Edward Seaga, who was both Member of Parliament for the area and later Prime Minister of Jamaica. Within Tivoli, Claudius Massop was the dominant enforcer until his death in 1979 during a police operation. A vacuum opened. Jim Brown stepped in. He reorganized the gunmen of Tivoli into what became known as the Shower Posse, a name allegedly inspired by political campaign slogans promising that blessings would shower upon supporters. But what showered instead were bullets. Under Jim Brown's leadership, Tivoli became more than a political enclave. It became a disciplined criminal enterprise. And this was only the beginning. The structure of the Shower Posse. What authorities later discovered shocked even veteran detectives. The Shower Posse was not a loose street gang. It operated like a paramilitary network. Recruitment centered in Tivoli Gardens, where loyalty determined advancement. Weapons were distributed strategically, and territory was tightly controlled, with Tivoli serving as the command hub. Revenue initially came from marijuana trafficking, but as U.S. cocaine demand surged in the 1980s, the organization allegedly expanded into larger drug distribution networks. Profits were reinvested into weapons, logistics, and community influence. By the mid-1980s, operations reportedly stretched into cities like Miami, New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. U.S. authorities later linked the group to hundreds of killings connected to drug conflicts, with some estimates reaching as high as 1,600 deaths, though exact numbers remain debated. What wasn't debated was the scale of violence, and at the center of it all, investigators alleged, was Jim Brown. Political protection and community loyalty, Tivoli Gardens was more than a base of operations. It was a political fortress. Residents often described Jim Brown as a protector. He reportedly funded school supplies, supported local events, and intervened in disputes. In garrison politics, loyalty was transactional, protection in exchange for allegiance. Critics argued that this blurred the line between political representation and organized crime. Supporters claimed he defended the community from rival violence. During the 1980 general election, one of the bloodiest in Jamaican history, violence between rival political strongholds surged. Hundreds died nationwide. When the Jamaica Labour Party won, Jim Brown's influence in West Kingston strengthened. But with influence came scrutiny, and eventually, scrutiny became international. The American expansion Miami in the 1980s was transforming under the cocaine boom. Federal prosecutors later alleged that Jim Brown relocated there in 1984 after Jamaican authorities issued a warrant connected to violent clashes in Kingston. In the United States, he allegedly partnered with key lieutenants, including Vivian Blake, to expand the Shower Posse's distribution network. Blake reportedly handled logistics and financial coordination. Jim Brown, investigators alleged, maintained overall authority and enforced discipline. The organization's structure in America mirrored its Jamaican model. Cells operated in specific cities. Local leaders reported upward. Disputes were resolved with violence. Witnesses later testified that internal punishment was swift and public, meant to reinforce fear and prevent betrayal. Federal grand juries eventually indicted dozens of alleged members on charges ranging from drug trafficking to murder. But gathering testimony was dangerous. Witnesses feared retaliation, and some cooperators later claimed political dimensions to the organization's earlier rise, including allegations of Cold War-era intelligence dynamics. These claims remain controversial and disputed. What is clear is that by 1988, U.S. authorities considered the Shower Posse one of the most dangerous transnational criminal organizations operating within their borders. The turning point. In 1988, a federal indictment in Miami named 34 alleged members of the Shower Posse, including Jim Brown. Charges included drug trafficking, firearms offenses, and racketeering. Some former associates agreed to cooperate with U.S. prosecutors in exchange for reduced sentences. Testimony detailed murders, drug shipments, and internal discipline. What authorities discovered next shifted the balance. Jim Brown's protection in Jamaica had weakened after political shifts returned the opposing party to power. In 1990, Jamaican authorities arrested him on behalf of the United States. For the first time, extradition appeared imminent, and for the first time, the possibility existed that Jim Brown could testify under oath in a U.S. courtroom. That possibility frightened many. The law enforcement response. The extradition battle was lengthy. Appeals were filed. Legal arguments were made regarding the sufficiency of evidence and fairness of trial. Meanwhile, violence erupted back in West Kingston. Members of the Shower Posse allegedly retaliated against rivals and suspected informants. Then, tragedy struck close to home. Jim Brown's daughter was killed in a shooting. Weeks later, his son was murdered by rival gunmen. The funerals deepened tensions in Tivoli Gardens. Inside prison, Jim Brown awaited the final ruling from the British Privy Council, Jamaica's highest appellate court at the time. When the council rejected his appeal, extradition was scheduled. He would be placed on a plane to Miami within days, but he never boarded that plane. The fire. The night of February 23, 1992, a fire broke out in his cell. Reports indicated a mattress and curtain ignited. Guards responded. Smoke filled the corridor. By the time officers reached him, it was too late. The official ruling classified his death as smoke inhalation resulting from the fire. But alternative theories spread quickly. Some believed it was an escape attempt that spiraled out of control. Others alleged he was silenced to prevent testimony that could implicate powerful figures. No criminal charges were filed regarding his death. No definitive alternative explanation was proven. The secrets, if any existed, died with him. Jim Brown died in a prison cell consumed by smoke, but the questions never burned away. Was it suicide? Was it sabotage? Or was a man who knew too much erased before he could speak? Decades later, The legacy of the Shower Posse still echoes through West Kingston and American court records. Politics, power, cocaine, loyalty, betrayal. This was more than a gang story. It was a chapter of Caribbean history written in fire. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Jim Brown's death was accidental, or something far more calculated? Comment your thoughts below. If you want more deep investigations into Jamaica's most powerful kingpins, garrison politics, and untold crime stories, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next story is even darker, and in this world, the truth is never simple.